Hi, it's Dr. Z. Welcome to Week 4 of Psych 266. This week, we will be learning about neurodevelopmental disorders. This category of psychological disorder is considered disorders of childhood and adolescence due to the age of onset. Each section focuses on a type of neurodevelopmental disorder. The etiology, or cause, and treatment of these disorders are included in each section. Let's get started with this week's overview. By the end of this week, you'll be able to complete these district course competencies and learning objectives. For this week, please watch the overview video. This chapter is separated into 4 sections. The first section is intellectual developmental disorder. This disorder was formerly referred to as intellectual disability. This disorder reflects intellectual and adaptive functioning deficits in conceptual, social, and practical domains. In the distant past, this disorder was also referred to as mental retardation. Please read the designated pages in the textbook and complete the corresponding Neuropod lesson. As part of the Neuropod lesson, you will watch a TED Talk by Matthew Williams on intellectual disability. Since this video will prepare you for application paper number 3, I posted it on Canvas for those students who may want to watch it again before completing the assignment. The second section for this week is autism spectrum disorder. In the DSM-5, they grouped all autism-related disorders into a single category called autism spectrum disorder, or ASD. In other words, autism exists on a spectrum or continuum from low functioning to high functioning. The disorder, once known as Asperger's syndrome, is now considered a high functioning version of autism spectrum disorder. Dr. Temple Grandin, who's featured in your textbook, is a wonderful example of how autism can be modified and controlled. Please read the designated pages in the textbook and complete the corresponding Neuropod lesson. The third section this week is learning disorders. In the DSM-5, an individual who exhibits difficulty learning and using academic skills in the areas of reading, writing, or math would be diagnosed with a specific learning disorder. Prior editions of the DSM specified the types of learning disorders based on the area of concern. An impairment in reading was formerly referred to as dyslexia. An impairment in written expression was formerly referred to as dysgraphia. And an impairment in mathematics was formerly referred to as dyscalculia. However, now we give a single diagnosis of specific learning disorder. Please read the designated pages in the textbook and watch these assigned videos. Now I'm going to give you extra credit. There are many people who are successful and have a psychological disorder. The actor Octavia Spencer is an Oscar winner and an individual who is diagnosed with dyslexia. If you want to earn 3 points extra credit, submit her name and extra credit Easter eggs on Canvas. Now, the fourth section this week is ADHD and conduct disorders. Most students incorrectly describe ADHD as just ADD, or someone who just can't focus. You will learn this week that there are 3 subtypes: inattention, hyperactivity or impulsivity, or a combined type with both inattention and hyperactivity. Also covered in this section are conduct disorder and oppositional defiant disorder. Please read the designated pages in the textbook and watch these assigned videos. Now, my friends, we're getting to the fun part. Every week, the activity will give you the responsibility of being a psychologist for a day. Because diagnosis is so important to our role as psychologists, This week's activity involves applying your knowledge of neurodevelopmental disorders to a case history. For this activity, you'll be given the case histories of 5 different clients, and your job will be to diagnose the client assigned to you. Please see the table here below for your assigned client. You will complete this handout on your own by writing the answers in the space provided on the handout. This activity will prepare you for discussion board number 3. Additionally, there will be 2 questions in application paper number 3 regarding your client. So let's go to the assignments this week. The first assignment is the Nearpod lesson. This Nearpod covers the first part of the chapter on neurodevelopmental disorders. Please note the important heading: Nearpod lessons are due on Wednesdays and need to be completed before the weekly discussion board. The second assignment is discussion board on diagnosing neurodevelopmental disorders. This discussion board ties back to the activity diagnosing neurodevelopmental disorders and of you diagnosing your assigned client. For your discussion board, you will share your diagnosis for your assigned case history. Please include criteria and symptoms that are important for diagnosis, and define and identify your psychological disorder for the class. Additionally, I want you to engage in differential diagnosis. Explain if any symptoms may also look like another psychological disorder. Now, one helpful tip: I recommend diagnosing all 5 clients on the handout on your own, and then reading what your classmates post on the discussion board. I will respond directly in the discussion board with confirmation of the diagnoses. The third assignment is the chapter quiz. I encourage you to spend time differentiating between intellectual developmental disorder and autism spectrum disorder, as well as know the differences between conduct disorder and oppositional defiant disorder. And finally, the last assignment this week is the application paper. Question 1 reviews the section on intellectual developmental disorder and the TED Talk by Matthew Williams. Question 2 and question 3 ask you to expand on the activity diagnosing neurodevelopmental disorders. Question 2 asks you to pick a specific etiology or cause discussed in the textbook and apply it to your assigned client based on your diagnosis. Question 3 also asks you about your assigned client, but now it's going to ask you to pick a specific treatment discussed in your textbook and apply it to your assigned client based on your diagnosis. And as always, the fourth question is your wow moment for the week. And with that, my friends, you will have successfully completed this week's module. I look forward to reviewing your awesome assignments this week.